pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody to the April meeting of the Alleman City Council. And could I have a roll call?
Andres.
Here.
Heller. Here. Stevens.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Done. Polk County Sheriff.
We need to do this. Consent
Oh, I'm
agenda.
sorry, consent agenda. We did the consent agenda.
No, we did the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Oh, okay, now we have, I'm sorry.
Minutes.
Consent agenda items,
Minutes and claims.
what?
Minutes and claims.
Minutes and claims.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we want to do the sheriff's department, the sheriff's deputy here. Does anybody have any questions for the sheriff or the report?
Lieutenant Andrew Hunt, Polk County Sheriff's Office. So last month we had 92 calls for service. 38 of those were considered contacts at the school. So when the SRO goes out there, he puts himself out to school. So minus that, 54 calls for service up here. Nothing out of the ordinary, typical speed complaints, some narcotic stuff, and then that's about it.
Child in need of assistance, China?
So a China case.
It's a what?
A China case? Yeah.
They're,
So that-
they're from China?
No, a China case is child need of assistance, which
okay.
means it could have been,
Abbreviation.
yeah, could have been, if I remember right, that one, it was a kid that walked away from the school,
Okay.
and the SRO intervened, was able to get him the help that they needed.
You patrol our city a lot.
I'm the third watch commander, but we do have deputies that come up here and they spend their allotted time, which I believe is 20 minutes a shift.
20 minutes per shift.
Yep. And then, of course, if we get called up here, then we're there.
Maybe next month we could think about, we've talked here at the table about possibly reducing our speed limits to 20 miles per hour.
Okay.
Do you think that'd make a lot of difference?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, we see it all over throughout the other cities where even though they lower the speed limit, you're still going to get the ones that slow down, but you're still going to get the ones that speed, no matter what the speed limit is.
Will it change your attitude or your SOP for as far as the ticket threshold?
So we don't have a ticket threshold.
Well, you know,
Right.
you know,
That's up to the discretion of the deputies.
yeah.
Depending on where, I guess you're going to put were you talking about changing it to 20 just in town or?
No, we're just exploring it, you know, we don't know whether it'll do any good. But, you know, it's something that we've looked at because you're getting complaints about speeding and we do too.
Sure.
You know, and we have the data and we're gonna be putting in 2 more of those, what do we call them? Speed check.
Dynamic speed feedback signs.
Yeah, got a name for them, I guess, but, so there's plenty of data that supports that we've got a problem,
Sure.
you know, and those are available to you anytime, if you guys want to see them.
Well, and what we can do too, depending on what the data shows, when the speed, I guess, the speed is more prevalent. Is it the morning, afternoons?
Well, you know, when I was a police officer, we had school patrol,
Sure.
and it was in the morning school patrol, in the evening school patrol.
Sure.
And I think a lot of our problems and complaints would be in and around the time school is in the morning and in the afternoon.
Sure.
And sporting events and those kinds of things, you know, when there's a lot of people
Sure.
driving, but, yeah, it's a problem. But,
I'd like to see you guys get in their pocketbook, write some tickets to them. There's the only way you're gonna do it. We tried everything else.
Well, but
You guys gotta help us out in a way.
the other thing people have to understand though is we can't force our deputies to write tickets per
I
se,
know.
because then it becomes a
If
quota.
we lower to 20 and you guys do your, say, 10 thing over, you know, they're running 35 and you'll be able to write a ticket then.
Yeah, they
Right
can.
now, they do 35, they just go by.
Right.
Is what we're looking at.
Sure.
You know, because you're not gonna slow down. You start getting in their pocketbooks, they gotta spend some money for speeding tickets. Someone will get 2 or 3 of them, lose their license, it'll wake them up.
Well, what I can do is, and especially with our people on Third Watch, is advise them to come up here and do some traffic enforcement.
And it's basically school time, activities after school, when they let out,
Weekends.
weekends. Yes, heavy.
So it's a lot of the students then probably.
It just ain't students, I ain't blaming students, there's a lot of parents that come in from out of town, they just fly down there.
Oh, sure.
So, it just ain't the kids.
Sure.
You know, I wanna see you get in everybody's pocket. I mean, if we slow these people down or break them.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda is a motion to consider resolution 2026-010. This is the WRA sewer evaluation proposal for engineering services in Eastern Kim. I guess first up would be you comment for us, and I've asked Polk County Supervisor Jill Altringer to also come up and address this item, and we can either, an hour later. So go ahead, sir.
All right, Forrest Aldrich, Eastern Kim, and I was at the work session last time talking about this, and Mike has done a good job of providing the city the options of doing a treatment facility on your own, and possibly going all the way to Elkhart, sharing in that treatment facility if Elkhart is willing to participate in that. The one thing we have not looked at is connecting to the WRA, which is the Wastewater Reclamation Authority, basically the city of Des Moines treatment system. And at the work session, I passed out these maps. I brought more if anybody wants to see those.
Conflict with theirs.
Is this the same map?
Yeah, I think you guys, we all have them.
I'll take a back one.
I'll take one, please.
That's
I think that's
the different one.
That's the water, that's behind.
This is a different
That's a
one.
different one, yeah. Yeah, this is, thank you.
This is the same map we had last time.
Okay.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, same one I had last time. Yep. So as we discussed last time, there was 2 routes to go. One route would be to follow 4 Mile Creek all the way down to the old Ankeny wastewater treatment plant. There'd be some discussions with Ankeny, maybe there's a sewer that has capacity further north that we would hook into, but ultimately we have to go that far. It becomes a WRA sewer at the Ankeny wastewater treatment facility. We'd have to pretty much follow the creek through town, which creates its own problems. The other option would be to go southwest and kind of show there's the red line is the 2 options that would be at 36th and it's kind of where the trail goes through there. And it'd be just east of Polk City. So that'd be the second spot. But that one we may have to pump to. We'd have to analyze that, whether we could get there by gravity. It's pretty flat from Alleman to that intersection. And of course, when you do a gravity sewer, you gotta have a little bit of slope to the pipe to get things to move. So that's part of what we look at too, is do we need to pump that part way, all the way? what would that look like and what would that do to the cost? So those are the two things. We've come up with costs, and then a lot of it is discussions with the city of Ankeny, with Polk County, with the WRA, with Polk City, having those discussions about what are the costs to do this, what would be involved, and looking at, and once we figure that out, what are some of the funding options for that? It's, so that this is just kind of a study to figure out this is an option, is this viable, how much does that cost? And then, also with the WRA, there's fees to transport that wastewater through the WRA, through the collection system, and then there's fees to treat it at the Des Moines wastewater plant. So what are all those fees and how does that impact all of this?
How come the developers ain't doing this?
One, usually the financing for this is not something that's available to developers. So this would be state revolving fund program, USDA funding, community development block grants that are only available to cities for funding, not private developers. You can, and a lot of cities do, take these costs then and put connect fee districts. And so then when an area develops, they pay a connection fee to repay back the costs of those.
Some of this ain't in our city limits. Can we get that connection fee when it's out here, southwest of Alleman?
You can set connect fees outside of the city limits.
Is there some kind of fund that we can eventually get our money back?
Yeah, through that connect fee, you eventually get your money back.
Probably some of that areas, city limits will come together, with Ankeny. That would be a WRA line.
And that'd be a discussion we'd have to have with the city of Ankeny. If there's a sewer that, is funded by Alleman, let's say, and it ends up in Ankeny corporate boundaries, well, we need to have a discussion with Ankeny about how that developer doesn't get a free ride.
All this housing being developed up here, northern part of Ankeny, part of North Polk school system is got Ankeny address, and some of the kids are coming up here. Could the North Polk school system or anybody like that help fund this?
Yes. Discussions with them as well. I mean, that's I'll call it the easy part, is figuring out how much this costs and which way to go. The hard part is how do we fund it, and we have all these players, and how does all that interact?
Also, usually when you look at setting up these special assessment districts, you look at who benefits. And you look at the school district, which would benefit, basically, you got Polk City, you got Elkhart, you got Ankeny, you got Sheldon, that all benefit by having the school district here too. So it's a multi-jurisdictional, and the county incorporated, but we're all in the county too. So then you got the economic development benefit that serves a lot larger area, employment and so forth. So there's a lot of benefit. You could spread it around.
So who would be the players? Polk County,
Then us.
us, so Alleman.
If it goes through Ankeny, that'd be.
Depends on which route, but possibly Ankeny.
So the school,
And the school.
Southwest route.
I like the southwest route myself.
So what's,
Jill, yes,
Okay,
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
I coming into this I feel like this whole issue, and I apologize, I'm always late as far as catching up on information, right? And so you guys have had a work session, I wasn't at that. I thought this was more of a conversation, I didn't realize there was a resolution on there, so I apologize. I have spent time trying to get up to speed on some of the past in the history of this. And you raised a good question, who are the players? Well, I think that, I would start there. I think I'd back that up. Will the WRA take you? I've had one preliminary conversation, one meeting with the WRA. Have you talked to the WRA? Will they take you?
I have talked to the WRA. I know the people at the WRA very well, do a lot of work for the WRA. And so I don't, so that's part of this study as well is okay, here's the cost. What is the cost for the WRA to take us? WRA's looked at this 10 years ago. We wrote the facility plan for the collection system for all of WRA. I'm the author of that, and Alleman is in that facility plan as a potential
It is, okay.
as a potential participant.
Was Barnes originally in it? 'Cause we worked,
Yes.
Barnes worked with B&K.
Yes. Yeah.
And just, I mean, you're obviously familiar with this. Mike has done great work looking at Alleman's option as a standalone versus connecting. Where do you think the WRA connection goes in comparison, higher or lower?
With everything else? You mean going on their own, you mean?
To connect, will the WRA, in your estimate, just before you do the study, knee-jerk reaction, no one's holding you to this, where do you think the WRA connection is going to be higher or lower than Mike's as far as putting a sewer plant in or connecting to our?
I think short term, the treatment facility will be cheaper. Long term, the WRA will be cheaper.
I'm with you. Okay, remind me, Mike, your standalone facility was 20 million?
That, yes, everything.
Okay, I'm still trying to work.
But you still have to build the internal system to serve the community, plus run a line to the WRA, plus paying for the sewers downline, and then expand the wastewater treatment plant in Des Moines, so.
Well, that one's in the future.
Yeah. The
Well, if you
WRA,
hook onto the WR,
this is a drop, yes, but this is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, but as you grow,
Yeah.
you'd be buying into that, so.
So, and listening to you, we need a commitment letter from the WRA before we do anything. That say, an acceptance letter saying they would accept us. The resolution tonight is basically putting the cart in front of the horse.
I wasn't prepared for a resolution tonight. I'm sitting here alone. My county administrator is out of state. I've had plenty of conversations. I didn't bring Brett with me by design. I am trying to work with my colleagues because I do not. I sympathize with the situation you guys are in. I want to help with the study if we go that route. Okay. Help. The best I could do, I'm trying to talk them into going halvesies. It's a $24,000 study, I'm trying to talk them into going 12.
So we need an acceptance letter from you
Well, okay.
as a council that would agree to that, and we need an acceptance letter from the WRA saying that they would even consider it
So,
before we have a resolution.
and I think a very valid question that my colleagues ask, and that's what I'm trying to narrow down, just even at the beginning at base, is let's say best case scenario, it comes back at 25 million. Only 5 million more than what Mike's estimate. Or maybe, let's say it comes back at 20 million, why not? It's equal.
Or 50?
It won't.
Okay.
So we're just gonna go with the realistic estimate. Comes back at 20 million. How are you gonna fund it?
Yeah, we can.
So then what? And that's what I don't want you guys doing, putting the money after what.
Yeah, we've already spent 130,000 on this whole deal up here that Mike drew all up. We've already spent over 130,000 doing that, and it went, I don't even want to get into it, but we spent over 130,000 on that deal.
Not to Vincent and Kim, you didn't.
No,
We have spent that. I got a paper the other day that was $130,000 worth of paperwork.
I don't know.
Did you guys get that
Don't know
paper?
about the money, but regardless.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, I didn't really look at it.
You'd have to add a bunch more zeros to get to the point of an operational.
Yeah.
Okay? And so, I mean, I look at, I talk in pennies, like I agree, everything's, we want to be as fiducious with our money, like our citizens. But my question goes back to, I mean, I'm not saying 130,000 isn't anything, it's a lot of money. But it's substantially less than what we're talking about. I mean, even if you add a zero, you only have 1.3. And then you add another zero and you only have 13. And I'm telling you, how are we, I think you need to back up, how are you going to even pay for whatever it is?
I talked to a guy and he told us on this whole northern deal that we would have to charge double hookup fee, and you're basically telling everybody, don't come here, even if you had it, because they're gonna go to Altoona, they're gonna go to Grimes, they're gonna go to where the fee is way less.
Yeah, I handed that out, those fees, and they aren't substantially greater. It's amount of how much development you're going to have, so.
So you have to be able to foot the bill for the while until the development,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's an extra.
First and foremost, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like, you know, it's time to fish or, you know, cut bait. We know that Alleman is a very, very small player in this whole situation. We would not be able to sign any kind of notes to do this. It would take a long time for enough fees to come in to cover, you know, what would be done. This entire, you know, sewer to northern Polk County, which would mean Alleman also, is growth and economic development for northern Polk County. Plain and simple. It's the same ad that runs in the newspaper. Are we interested in you know, we've seen participation with Polk City, Polk County, and Ankeny doing a $30 million on this red line right here. And so that was a partnership that Polk County has done. And look at the growth and economic development that fueled.
If I may, that partnership, just so it's clear, that was for our unincorporated area that we did partner with part of it, right? You're asking for.
Well, it's pretty much the same thing. And you know what? At this point in time, I don't, Alleman, none of the residents of Alleman are going to see any benefit of a sanitary sewer system. This is for the school system and the growth and economic, and we have 3,000 acres of property that the property owners have signed. They want to participate, but I think that this whole thing, this whole program would have to, the whole county would have to take the lead on. You would have to take the lead on, because, I mean, we weren't even gonna, I mean, even running a sanitary sewer system is kind of way out of our bailiwick, you know, and all we're asking for is a pipe from somewhere to the school, and we want the opportunity to hook onto that pipe with any properties that are running along that pipe. You know, if that pipe's got to come across here, and the property owners saying, hey, we'd like to hook onto that pipe, you know, because it's going to serve the school, but, you know, the pipe's got to come into the community and get to the school. We would like it sized big enough to, you know, to hook up. And, you know, the other thing is, we just can't, I mean, we've been doing this for years and years here, you know, and trying to work everything. I mean, you know, Ankeny's just flat out said, you know, we're not gonna let you hook onto our sanitary sewer system because we have to have capacity for ourselves. The only one that I see that is even in the realm is, I know that Bond Grant has got to, or no, Elkhart has got to want to grow. And they're growing. And they have 2 cells, and they're going to need 3 cells. And that is, to me, a pretty good opportunity to run a line over and build another cell for Elkhart, 2080 agreement between you, us, Elkhart, just like Polk City, Ankeny, and, you know, and so I just feel like, Jill, I hate to put it on you, you know, but you are the big gun in the room, and it's gonna have to really listen to you and work with you. We'll do everything we can possibly do. But as far as the studies and the money that we put out, you know, for studies and you know, it was right for us to do the park. Thank you very, very, very much for the park.
You're right, and we got the project, I was supposed to burn it, and then it might have gotten sent,
Yeah.
that's not.
Thank you. I mean,
I think,
we really, really appreciate that. But you know, we want a partner. Oh my goodness, there's only 400 people in this town, and you know, that's what it is.
well, the thing anywhere, basically these wastewater treatment facilities, you go into debt, and Alleman doesn't have the ability, they don't have the debt limit, your debt capacity to do about anything.
No.
So they need somebody, but the big issue, the first meeting we had with the county, it was Bob Burnell.
I know, I was gonna say,
Bob
much
and-
smarter people than me have come before and still
Yeah,
not solved the
It was
problem,
with
so I feel like
Bob,
I'm in good
yeah,
company, right?
so you're doing great, really, Jill.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was actually the idea of going and building a regional one was Bob Bryce's idea. And in going down into the Skunk River Basin. And it was in the first meeting we had, and then he said, Beecher and Kim could do it because we're working with Elkhart and maybe eventually even connect to Huxley. He said that at a meeting, and that started the whole concept of a regional one. And then the first stop would be in Elkhart to use theirs and expand theirs, and then head to once we all have the ability to go down to the river basin. But the problem is, Alleman doesn't have a debt limit, and even do very much of anything, and so that's why we need the county's help, but we need to show how we can pay it back.
So, I mean, wow, there's a lot, not sure maybe did everything in here. The school may or may not have its own standalone option, so I'm not overly moved by the school because I think there's other conversations going on, I'm not part of them. Okay? The county cannot pay for this pipe that you just were onto. I mean, I say that like, I hate saying when I can't do something because you know, I have 4 kids and the easiest way to explain my job to them is I'm a problem solver, I'm a paid problem solver, right? So but the reality is $20 million going to one community, I can't do that. I don't even have that money, let alone the ability to do that. So then what are our options? You know, we have done loans before. I don't even know what that kind of timeline looks for. It has to be through, you guys know that better than I do as far as how I can term out the loans and can you get that amount of development in here? And it's not like an asset that I can come and take out of the ground if you can't pay it, right? How does that even look?
So it's like anything, you gotta show the potential, and that's why we.
And I know you did the nice job with the numbers and all that, but like that's
And
not.
even Elkhart over there has a lot more than we.
So can I give you a,
Hold on,
okay, go ahead, Eric.
you went on for a long time, I get at least 5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
You spent a lot of time working with the WRA. And when I spent my 1 hour with them, I'm still like, that's not how the system was designed. We're not designed like build it, they will come. We design like we build when they're there and we bring it down. I mean, you're going backward and you're swimming upstream as far as how the system was even set up to begin with. And so we just have a lot of serious hurdles. Now, you're right. You're also stymied with growth. I 100% agree. And if regionalism takes care of itself, if the region, as the region, because you said who are the players, I mean, as they come into that land, they take care of it. You also asked why the developers aren't.
Don't know.
sorry, why the developers aren't, because they're already gonna be doing your streets and all the other oversights. That they won't develop here, that's part of what they have to do. And when you look at those numbers to pay me, the county back, to somebody's point, I don't know how you get the developers here. Like, here's the thing, I will fight hard to get you halvesies for the study, but I don't want you spending your good money going down that road if we can't afford whatever comes out of it. I'd like to have sorry. I just want to have some of that other back information. You looked at, you're right, years have gone past. And Bob's worked, I've looked at some of Bob's old emails on this. He was like, what were they thinking building the school here? Those are legit questions, right? It's here, like I said, I think the school might be working on, have another option. Is this the best course? You can't grow without it, I get that. But remember, I spent 16 years on the Grimes City Council. And what did I always remind myself when I came up with hard decisions? I remember we have two things that we have to do. Provide public service and provide infrastructure. And you're contracting out your public service, and we're having to struggle with infrastructure. And I know, there's just some realities that I just don't want you guys to spend, this $12,000 means a lot to you. I don't want you to spend that money if we can't do anything with it, nothing comes out. That makes sense. I'd ask at least that you hold on this resolution for today before approving it, so that whatever conversations that I know, if there's more catch up, I don't know what they are, but to your point, it's been there for a long time. I'm 15 months in, you've been dealing with this for a lot longer than 15 months, so it's not like I'm your stopgate. I'm just trying to figure out, I don't know what the future looks like.
Well, let me ask some questions. 6, 7 years ago, I think the county still our engineers. Okay.
Yeah, Polk County.
Yeah, Polk County had it. We was out here one time, talked about a line on the north side of 142nd, on the west side of town. They was building that waste treatment plant over there. In the county, the guys are all talking about running a line from here over to that treatment plant in Elkhart. That would pick up the school. And the school's got enough room that we've measured that they can add on to the septic system for several more years to cover the students. But that way they would pick up the north side of 142nd, that all owns all that property over there, and on the west side of town, whoever owns that property wants to build, that pick up that sewer and it all goes over to Elkhart. I don't know if it'd be worth looking into or talking to county guys again, or
Is that
you
the
guys.
looked at?
Yeah, the thing is, there are people right on 134th Street to the east that if they have.
142nd.
Well, 142nd is on high ground, so you want,
That's what
water
we want.
runs downhill. So 134th is at the low point, the water tower's up there. So the sewer, you got L wells are developers, they're developers. They've been in here, they've signed, and then along 134th Street, we've got 500 acres. There are owned by property owners that aren't farmers. And then Stahl, but they definitely want to sell their land for developments right up along the interstate. There's a revenue potential to pay off a debt. But if Alleman had the debt capacity and we're able to get financing, it would be a go. That's the problem in all this, is being able to get the financing, an entity to do that. And in some respects, in that one study, I showed all the benefit from economic development as far as tax revenues. And actually, Polk County and Broadlawns Hospital, those two entities bring in more money than what Alleman would bring in per year. And then the school is 3 times, 2.5 times. So I look at economic development, it's the benefit for all, it's regional jobs, customers for businesses in Ankeny. And that, to me, this whole thing's about economic development. And the school, I've talked about services, they need more than just a sewer line. They need to have more around here. They need, better emergency services. As you grow, that'll all be there. So we gotta figure out how we can do that. There are, I said in that thing, 3,000 acres nearly, and that's what we know about. In this area, if they had sewer, it would start growing. The Des Moines metro area is growing. You know, if you look out west, you know, I used to work in West Des Moines, you got Waukee, you got Grimes are the two principal communities that are growing out west anymore. Eventually, that's gonna fizzle, and to me, the north corridor, Interstate 35, is the new west.
But it's the eventually that's the issue, is, what's the old adage, like, you can't get money from a bank when you need money. You have money, right? And so
Yeah,
that's the problem that you're in,
You
and
got money.
but it's
But
what
I-
you call an
how
investment.
do
And,
there are 423 residents out of over 500,000. That doesn't work.
Let me throw this out. Sometimes I think that, maybe Alleman is the problem. Maybe, we know where Alleman stands and all that. What if Alleman, became a Saylorville and decertified as a city, and then developers came up? They wouldn't come to us, they would be coming to you, saying, we have 3,000 acres in Polk County. Are you gonna step up and extend sewer lines for economic growth and development? Alleman would still be Alleman, still have a zip code, we'd still be Alleman, but we would be unincorporated, and that would be Polk County. That's nobody's ever thought about that option, I know, but I watched, Saylorville operate that way for years and years, and they're still that way.
Strangely, I have a meeting next week with a different community that had similar questions. And so I put some thought into that in general, back to what's the purpose of a city? Like, what's the number one thing, like, probably safety infrastructure, after that, what do you do? So where are you contracting currently? What are you currently providing? What does it mean to the tax levy rate? I mean, these are all considerations. If you unincorporate, then you no longer have a city levy rate. What's your city levy rate, Chair?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm looking at like
8.75.
Bill.
8.75.
Yeah,
So
8.75.
the county, when you are a city, in a city, you have the city rate 8.75, and then you have the county of 6.7. If you get rid of if you unincorporate, you get rid of the city levy, so then you move up to the 11.170 or something. So effectively, hold on, quick math, all you guys. So you go from 14 and some dollars to 11 and some dollars, right? So you do have a tax savings. And I mean, my friendly sheriff is gone, but I would argue that there's a lot of services that the county provides that are superior to a lot of what the cities can, especially in smaller ones. And that's why I have so many of my communities that contract with sheriff, for instance, because they can do so at much less rate and get sheriff service. It's something that if you want to talk about, what happens with the county on this, I think what happens is that this works itself out, but I don't even know that the county has to be a part of it. But what happens to all of them? I mean, I have Chester Park in my area, I have White Oak, I have, starts with B. It's embarrassing. Thank you, in my area. Sailor Township is not in my area, but I know that that's, one that is in between Mark and I. To your point, they continue to have a namesake. They're like historical villages, and they still have an identity.
To Berwick, just not very long ago.
More than 15 months ago.
Well, I know Brownell was working on that. Brownell worked on that.
I haven't done any, I haven't done research on that one. I knew that we had we had we put in our partnership, whatever, whole city one, and I knew that we had done loans on those. I hadn't heard about our one.
Yeah, they put a sewer line up there. But, you know, that's just, you know, you got,
Is it something that the council
Think
has
about-
talked about?
we've never talked about that at all. No, this is just me brainstorming my brain, you know, I.
This is, we
I
need to
don't know.
brainstorm your brain during work sessions, so we have more of an opportunity to talk about.
Well, we got one next Monday, but you know what, that's a pretty controversial
Well, Harry,
deal.
it's fine.
You know, that really is, but, you know, we're against the wall. I mean, you know, we're looking at, do we wanna continue the pain, you know, and paying half, we paid half for his study, or third of your study with the school and the whole county, and now half again. Lord knows.
And to that point, it's not even the study, like, that's what I'm trying to say, the pain of the study is the easy part. It's implementing it afterwards that is gonna cause problems, and that's why I wanted to make sure I came today, and I didn't know this was resolution, but I don't want you guys spending more money if it's not gonna be feasible if you do.
Could be years before it ever benefit us. I mean, 10 years anyway, really.
I mean, if you want us to table it for a year, a couple months, or whatever, I mean, we could table it.
Right
I don't know, would
now,
it change anything?
That never hurt my feelings. If
I mean, but would it change over the course of a year if we decided to fund it now or
No,
or later? I mean,
no,
it's,
I mean,
would it give her more of a position to
I don't know what more you want me to do though, but I don't know what more you think I can.
He wants you to come up with 20 million. It's easy. And you said, we're not doing that. So that's what I get out of it. You can't do that. You can't give $20 million to 400 people when you've got all the others. You would, might lose your job if you did
I'm
that.
all about economic development,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
hundred percent. That's outside the realm of economic development, that's just like taking, and to your point, that would be taking over all. And if we unincorporate it, I mean, then the conversation, I guess, does look different, but it's like the county, but I think that sorts itself out.
I don't know if it does, because we're all residents of the county.
I understand,
That
but I
doesn't make
cannot.
sense, actually.
so the only comment I'd say is,
It's like the
there's
person
funding
who-
opportunities out there. There's USDA,
Whatever.
there's CDBG, there's SRF, there's going to Washington DC, there's EDA grants. There is money out there for funding infrastructure. And unless you have the studies, and this is the last one, the other ones have already been done, doing your own plant, going to Elkhart, this will be the last one. And unless you have that, you
They're not gonna look at that.
Nobody's gonna look at any funding kind of thing.
I mean, he's very right, in that meeting that he was at the one of January 6th, and we sat there with Nunn's office, and that's where we said, you have to do this part of the study, right? Would the money ever come close to funding? They were looking at, you know, he only has X amount of dollars, and he has to distribute it around his whole district, kind of like I have, and I just, I mean, it even gets sliced thinner at that point.
Yeah,
How much have you ever seen a community be able to raise dollars? I don't know, I don't have a concept.
I mean, it's been millions. Eastern Iowa, Miller Meeks and Hinson have gotten several million for projects.
And how big were the communities and how big was the project?
Well, yeah, you're asking me to, I don't have that off the top of my head. but-
Several millions out of maybe a $75 million project is different than what a $20 million project, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I don't have the comparison in mind to even comprehend.
But I don't know either, but I know there's not gonna be, without this study, there's zero.
That's true,
And
which is why we started the conversation. It took me a long time to get Bob to want to do this study, and now I'm like, maybe you don't want to do this study, because I'm just afraid of what happens next. I know.
With regard to the study, I've been sitting over here waiting for a chance to jump in for quite some time. Some of us are new to the council, obviously, and this has been going on long before we were here. So we're getting caught up to speed on a lot of the things as you are in real time. The way it's been presented to us in the past to this point has been that Ankeny has unequivocally said no to any proposal of us hooking onto any of their existing stuff. And Elkhart has said, no, we are not gonna allow you to pump your crap over to our little thing. And that's what we've been told, and that's how it's been presented to us. Whether that's the actual facts or not, I don't know. But my first thought is, if the 4-foot tall, 250-pound if stand on the road, if that is true, then we shouldn't waste any more time on the study of anything that would have to do with anything that exists in Ankeny and only explore the western mine, which would that not cut down the cost of the study considerably?
Somebody is going to ask, well, did you think about going gravity down 4 Mile Creek? That red is WRA, it's not Ankeny.
Correct.
So,
But it has to go through Ankeny to get there.
There's a lot of easements there.
yeah, there's a lot of easements there, but somebody's gonna ask, did you look at that? And if we say, no, we didn't look at that, well, go look at that and then we'll talk some more. So it may be a very quick conversation with Ankeny going that way, but we need to at least look at it.
My second question, the notes that I had here, does the WRA have any authority to force Ankeny to work with us?
No,
Okay.
We ran into that with Urban Day.
So we would ostensibly be hooking onto the same lines at some point, correct, as Ankeny? We'd either be going through their community or around their community, but we'd all be ending up in the same tube. Yes or no?
yeah, I mean, most of Ankeny goes to the old plant this way. This western part goes in this sewer. But Ankeny, yes, but eventually, yes, it all, and Polk City, all of Polk City goes into that western.
So
Yes,
I guess at a rudimentary level, I struggle with if we're going to be ultimately heading to the same pool, how can they say, no, we're not going to allow you to come through to access that pool? As if no different than if I owned a piece of property with a house on the other side of it, you gotta grant me an easement to get to it.
Yeah,
You own something in between.
I don't know that Ankeny could say, no, you can't come through the city.
Okay, well, that's one of the things that I.
Grimes went through Urbandale.
After 2 years of arm twisting.
Yes,
Having
but-
to get legislators involved, yeah.
Yes.
But not ugly.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's been presented to us that it's just not possible, they're not gonna play ball, so
I
don't even look at it.
What they're saying is that you can't go into their pipes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go into their pipes. They're not saying you can't come in your city limits.
That does clarify. So when the talk has been, from the county point of view, of $20 million for 400 people, reality to me, it seems like the 400 people really have nothing to do with this other than paying for the study, because it doesn't benefit a single one of them.
Yeah, I don't even know how it benefits those 400, those 122 houses, because what you're gonna get for connection anywhere doesn't include probably, the connection to those houses that have.
The
no
school
septic.
connection.
Right.
Eventually, as your septic systems don't last forever, and at some point, you're gonna spend, your lateral leach fields are gonna potentially plug up, or your septic tanks can go bad, or
20
whatever.
grand.
20 grand, and so,
Closer to 30.
30?
so
We
some,
never did this for 20, for a little house.
so someone may say, oh, there's a sewer down there at the school, maybe there's enough of us, and they're all going at the same time, maybe that's an option for us.
But that would be an
That-
additional cost.
There'd be additional costs, and that would be, I don't think that's the reason you do this, but that is there.
Forrest, I asked you what you thought about the Elkhart. You're there, man.
I mean, I designed the Elkhart wastewater plant. And know the council very well. They had a turnover, pretty good turnover in council with this election. I don't think anybody's talked to them since they've had the turnover in the election at the beginning of the year. I don't know what they would say.
Well, I
Something
thought
to
about,
look
I thought about inviting them to a workshop. All 5 of us, all 5 of them, and you, maybe we could talk about it.
I guess the basic question from my point of view is what's in it for them?
Well,
They
need a third lagoon soon because of the growth and economic development. And this might be 2 cities that have a situation, and it's easier to bring in maybe federal money, state money, those kinds of things that would benefit 2 cities instead of 1.
We did talk about that
And a
at
school.
that town meeting, that maybe having a regional approach might be more appealing. I don't know, but you're more familiar with those
Right,
things.
and so, yeah, there is more appealing by combining that. And then the other benefit for Elkhart is the salary for the operator, Alleman helps pay for that salary. And the cost of that 3rd cell, Alleman helps pay for that 3rd cell.
Is that something they currently have on the table? Is that-
The building the 3rd cell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in their long-term CIP. I mean, they recognize it. It depends on how fast. Kimberly owns quite a bit of the housing to the north. He's building that. He's bought the ground on the west side of Elkhart. Just depends on how fast that housing moves. You know, it seems like Kimberly's concentrating on Ankeny at the moment, but he does have some plans for building houses at Elkhart too, just depending on how fast that happens.
And we did at one point have Kimberly submitted a plat to us, and they decided they didn't want to go through the expense of doing all of the.
Well, the problem is,
On the onsite, they want to do the onsite.
Kimberly's problem is you don't have a public sewer system.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how everybody's. And at Kimberly Woods, actually I reviewed that.
All right,
Yeah. And if they build out, that'll take up all that new cell, and then they got 128 acres they're actually starting to work on a plan for development, well, it's just a plan, they're doing their land use plan. Actually, they got another big, they're looking at an annexation of quite a bit of land. Yeah, you're not probably.
How much room do they have for sales over there?
How much what?
How much room do they have for additional sales?
We left room for a 3rd one, and there's room for a 4th.
Actually,
And you actually,
my
if you
plan
buy, if they buy some ground, they
be
can buy
one more
6.
and then 3 more double. Now, that would take them up to 4,000 or 5,000 people. With a 750, probably more than that, a little bit, 750, 100 gallons per person, population equivalent for a cell. That's design. In reality, it probably goes 1,000, but they eventually have 6 cells there, but then there's a point where you transition to a mechanical system. And you get.
Right.
So,
How much would that next cell cost then?
I think you had 3.2 million.
Yeah, I can remember,
CIP,
I remember you
saw
looked at
I just
that.
saw that.
Okay.
Does it confirm
But
both?
they also owe
Yeah.
3.8 million is
That's
what they got right now.
Yeah.
They owe 3.8 million what they have right
It's a
now.
horrible location for a person.
Yeah, there's housing around there. That's why it should be down on the river.
We looked, you have to have 1,000-foot separation from any house where you build.
Yeah.
And that's about the only place. We looked everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was about the only place.
They're gonna be surrounded soon.
Actually,
So that's what I was like, well, if these 2 got along here like a Y, and they shared the cost of this part, but.
Now, I looked at that study for Ankeny. Their system is set for up to 160,000 people, which in their proposed comp plan area would accommodate that sometime. They're growing about 2,200 people per year. So,
Show offs.
Ankeny is.
What would it cost to do an RFP on a grant, or on Elkhart? And, I mean, we have 3 proposals on the table. Kind of out of the question for a standalone down south. And it's out of the question to go west. And east doesn't look, all 3 of those don't look good to me. Like, I don't like to waste money on a study that we probably pretty much know not gonna work.
I think
Maybe
we got
concentrate
study.
on going to Elkhart.
That'd be wonderful.
And we'll bring Elkhart over here and talk, and
Jill came to my house and she was running for election and she asked me, I talked about Alleman, I don't even remember that or not. But, and
But I was outdoor.
she was door knocking. And she says, well, the answer is go to the WRA. And I said, yeah, but it's a heck of a lot of money to go to the WRA, we can look at these other options. But everybody's is gonna ask that same question. What about going to the WRA? Have you looked at that? What does that cost? So unless you look at what's the cost to go to Elkhart, what's the cost to do it on our own, what's the cost to go to the WRA, and you have that total, here's all the options, we've looked at them all, and this is, as a city, here's what we think is the most cost effective, makes the most sense for economic growth, whatever the reasons are, then you have, here's all the answers for anybody that can think of, and then you can start going, okay, how do we fund this? Where's the money coming from? What congressional people do we talk to? State revolving fund, they have forgivable loans, block grants, they have for grant money, USDA has grant money. Where do we go for that? And I don't know the answer if we'll be able to get enough grant money to do it or not, but.
That's fair.
I know.
We have to start with, will the WRA take it? And in that 1 hour meeting, it was like,
Yeah, who was in the 1 hour meeting?
Well, the first step being to get Elkhart together and have this discussion. Everybody involved here, let's see if it's even feasible or worth going chasing.
I'm more than happy to go to the WRA, and if Jill's already talked to him for an hour, on my own nickel, go talk to him. I'm down there all day.
Can they deny us access?
Yeah. What?
Can they deny us access?
and so here's the thing, the WRA is actually owned by, or managed by, however, but members, and so it's all the member communities that can vote you in or not vote you in. And that was one of the first things Brian started to look at, was will you even take us? Now, we came in, we were probably a harder ask in some ways, because we came in at 16,000, you're coming in at 400. So we came in, we're big, we're sending you a lot, and we plan on continue to grow. You're like, hey, it's just a little bit extra, but what are your projections? And then they looked at, well, you guys come in, every other community is going to have to up the plan of when they have to expand it. That's $1 billion expansion is what they told me, maybe I just kind of steer me out.
That's all right. So, but part of it is, and they're gonna ask questions, well, how much, is it just 400 people? No. Well, how many is it? So that's part of.
Now, it's a phantom number.
I know.
These 400 aren't involved.
I know, so what is that? Well, that's what this study would do, is be able to try and answer those questions for the WRA of, well, how many people are you talking about? How, the LLs and, how much of this might develop and when and.
What line would you come down to?
One thing,
To get here,
Yeah.
you'd have to follow 4 Mile Creek.
you talk about,
So we can't bring them down any closer, just they share that portion of their expense.
Yeah.
you
Just follow the contours.
we're talking about developers.
Line.
When I worked in West Des Moines, we got a city manager from Colorado, from New Jersey, and we pursued the idea where developers would pay to, but we don't have a law in Iowa. The developers would actually pay up front, and then you would buy the infrastructure back from them with the fees. But weren't able to do that. Actually wrote the ordinance up for that. We sent it to our attorney, and he said, well, we can't do that. That would be a thought, passing legislation like that, where actually the developers would put it in, L wells, but you gotta pay them back. And they can get,
That's like getting.
that would just take some legislation.
Very much.
How do you pay them back? You pay them back for their own connection?
You have your fees, and then you buy the sewer line back from them, you just have legislation. You would charge fees just like you would, but you wouldn't go in debt, the developers would take on the debt.
It's just confused, so the developer puts it in, and then you have a connection fee.
But
Charge the developers.
you would buy that infrastructure back from them.
I
And
understand.
they do that in other states, at least this guy from Colorado, the city manager, he was originally in New Jersey. From
You know, I know you and Jim, you have your area to work on, but in the meantime, would it be advantageous for us to extend an invitation to the Elkhart City Council and see if we can come together?
I think it might be, just have a conversation with Katie about it. She's the city administrator. Start there with Katie and see what she thinks, and she could talk to some council members, or I could talk to some council members and see what they say,
Okay.
you know, as an option. I mean,
Are you saying Ankeny first?
No,
I said Elkhart.
No, that was our part, I mean.
Yeah, that's what.
Your relationship is probably better than our relationship at this point.
So, I agree with Forrest. That's why I originally, in January 6th, asked you guys to study the WRA, because that's exactly what Zach Nunn's office said. What does the WRA look like? And to his point, that's the only reason money, and that's the argument that resonates with my colleagues, like, listen, they can't even go out and try for other money, and as long as, like, it's understood, the county can't pick up $20 million. Sorry, I love you guys, I'd love to be able to help, I don't have that kind of deep pocket, right? You know, if you want to make it contingent, if you want to table it, and I can get back to you, but let me talk to them and say, this is why they have to do it. So whether or not they can afford to fund it on their own, they don't even know what they can fight for grants unless they do the study, and can I get us to have these on the study?
No, we can't fund it on our own. We don't have the debt capacity.
Yeah,
No, that's the thing, everyone knows you can't.
Yeah.
but that would be an idea, to have the developers put it in, and then you buy it back from them. But we can't.
They can go so many more places
We can do it
than-
upstate.
Us to where they have to put infrastructure in for themselves.
So to me, I see a couple options for tonight. One, you can table it. Two, and tell, you know, we go talk to WRA. You can approve it and have it be contingent on Polk County paying for half the study, and contingent upon having discussions with the WRA saying that they will accept it. So that's one option, or that's a second option, I think.
If the WRA was to not agree to any proposal of ours to hook onto them, would that negate the need for the engineering study?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
So if they say no, then we don't need to do this study, then we could actually,
Yeah, if they get us in writing that they are not, send it to us in writing, that they are not willing to have Alleman hook into the WRA, then when Zach Nunn says, what about the WRA, we've got a letter that says, they told us no. And I say, oh, okay, and we move on.
How do you see that scenario, advantageous, not advantageous?
To know? Oh, I'd like to know.
No, I mean, if they were to say no, does that help us or not?
It's one less option that you have.
so say having 4, move back to 3. Because we
Oh,
don't
you're
want
back
to,
to
we don't make an
Elkhart.
option going to Elkhart if this don't work out then, right?
Yeah, then
It's
you,
the only option.
yeah, we'll go on our standalone.
So we don't have the debt capacity, we can't stand on our own. the way you're talking, 400 people are not gonna justify a $20 million
That's,
grant, and without legislation, to do that, you gotta spend money to go to legislators and time and,
But Mike's $20 million was full-blown, build it and they will come. You can start smaller than that and expand on that. I would think, you would start with a wastewater plant that would be, if you did a standalone kind of thing, you're 4 million kind of thing. You're
We
not.
could reduce
it's not-
that cost. I was wanting to get out to the interstate, and maybe that's part of
So
it
you
too.
can,
I mean, that's
you can
getting it
phase
to
this,
the-
you don't have to go all
It needs to
in
be-
day one,
And
build it
I
for,
think, and the school
Yeah,
would
that's
also be
10,000
part of
people.
it,
you can phase this.
and get the
And
development.
Elkhart
just, and that's what Elkhart's doing, they built 2 cells, and then they're phasing that to build onto that.
so one cell's 3.2 million,
I can't remember how much Elkhart's system was, I've got that,
but then you gotta have a guy to run it.
yeah. Yeah,
And expand it.
Yeah.
you gotta have a licensed operator to run it, yeah.
We could phase
And we could possibly share that with Elkhart, because that's not an 8-hour a day job.
Right, and a lot of times you get a guy from Ankeny,
Oh,
that could do it, or Polk City, or, somebody at neighboring Huxley.
yeah.
They do that kind of on part-time.
What we could
Then you
do,
got school.
the schools gotta spend money no matter what, because they're growing.
Doesn't the school have his own treatment man
Yeah.
himself?
Right, so it could be him.
Yeah.
Him.
And that, what you do is you just build it, we're gonna have your sewers treatment plant, and just bring that sewer line and connect it and have L wells taking it through their property. Maybe we have to look at a different.
Well, first, we can't do this all night long, but
Our first thing we need to do is have you with the WRA,
yes.
get a yes or no, right? So
Do that,
is that what
yes.
we're gonna do first?
Yes.
And then you will talk to Katie, give us some
I've talked to
feedback.
Katie.
And then you'll go to Elkhart, talk to
To
them.
Katie, that's,
Okay.
that's Katie.
Okay.
And we can table this and
Then we'll table this until we hear from you on that.
on
So
those 2
can you
things.
do a work session next Monday? Is that,
That'll be
too
quick.
soon?
That's too soon,
okay, next month then?
yeah.
Okay.
That raises the question, will we need a work session?
Or would it be the week after? 2 weeks? Call Sherry and you'll let her know.
Talking to Katie isn't gonna be the issue, it's getting a hold of the right people in the WRA, and I don't know how soon that can
Why
happen.
can't we just work on that in another month? Table until next month. I mean, we're 9 years into it, 8 years into it, what's another month?
You're gonna matter that much,
You know?
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah.
But what we really would like next month, that'll be on the agenda.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time and effort. Jill, again, thank you. Hopefully you'll get to see a new, down here. and-
I would love the opportunity to come back with, my check and a picture, and more importantly, to tell you all the exciting things that we're doing on the county that I just had, we never got to that part.
So are you gonna find out if Polk County will split this with us, or what's?
Well, it'll depend on him and the
Yeah,
WRA.
if everything's yes with him, then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and I have one vote, I have my vote, and I'm softening my third vote, okay?
Okay.
I'm working on it. So, and to just reiterate the point that without all the studies, and this will help, because if WRS says no, obviously we have to do it anyway, and if they say yes, then the argument is we have to know all the options for the city to go forward for. Because I will also say that they understand I can't pay for it.
So if we go on with this study, are we gonna do another study going to Elkhart
We
then?
got that done already.
No,
We already got it
I did,
done
but
already.
I did Elkhart
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stanwell, the only two options are left.
Well, I missed a couple of years, so I just wanna make sure everything's.
Yeah, and we know the cost to go to Elkhart, we know the cost
Okay.
to stand alone, we just don't know what it is to go there.
Guys, you start your city council meeting so late, like, what time is your guys' bedtime?
It's usually
It's not just me, it's like, that old, I'm the only one that's like, I'm gonna get my jammies.
right?
All right, well.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll let you know on the,
Yes, thank you very much.
we'll let you know on when the check and all that, so maybe let's go for next month.
I will let you know what works on our calendar. Normally my assistant, the reason why I didn't know was my assistant's been out for the last couple of weeks. And I said, did you get that right? And she hasn't been able to. So we'll get that arranged.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on down to the next item, the drainage study on 134th Avenue, Forest Road.
I actually put that on hold, that's the price that you've got set up, kind of. Charge money.
Yeah. Big chunk of money. But, you know what, the last 3 or 4 years, we've had drought, pretty much drought, pretty dry. This year, not so much. And there is more water out there in that ditch, at least behind my house.
That tile is running, because if you look underneath the road, it's running full tile.
Yeah, it's just a lot of water.
Yeah, but that tile's not plugged up behind your house.
No, yeah, but it's just, we're seeing a lot of water. I think Logan spent the day behind somebody's house.
Yeah, no.
Cleaning out a tile up on the hill, and it's just wet. It's a wet year, and it's more water's coming. I don't know when they're gonna plant, but anyway, that's, you wanna table that one, Billy?
Yeah, I want to think about it a little more, we gotta discuss this a little more at the work session or something.
At the work session?
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's an awful lot of money.
next Monday night, we'll talk about that.
And you know, this is picking up
All
of them.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, maybe this one over on the east we cut off, but it's
If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it all.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah, I'd do it all, I mean, I ain't gonna
yeah.
be partial here and there.
Well, I would like to throw out there though that Logan and the company was able to clean out some tiles over on your end of the deal. Spent some time over on the east end of the road. It is a mess. It is an absolute swamp over there. Something is broken and it needs fixed.
So I called the DOT, and they came right out the next day, and they've been digging around on the,
That has nothing to
They didn't
do,
do
that has
anything
nothing to do
on the-
with
well, then the ditch.
area we're talking about.
Okay.
It has nothing to do
Well, I'm
with
just
it.
saying,
And
it's
just-
69.
And in all fairness, this doesn't affect me. My property's dry. I'm not having an issue. But my neighbors
Oh, there's
are.
several houses that.
Yeah.
And it's an
Oh,
absolute mess.
It needs to be done, it needs to be done, but just coming up with 200,000 to do it.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I did have that section televised, and I
Speak up.
What?
I did have that section that Scott is talking about on that far end televised. I sent the video to Forrest. I also gave it to the farmer, who's the property owner, and you can clearly see that when that was put in, it was probably trenched in and run with the elevation, the grade of the field. You can clearly see that it just drops down. You're trying to force water uphill. That tile that's on that end, that's why it can't be taken off. It will never run water correctly until it's fixed. That's just my opinion, just looking at the video. I don't know.
Whose tile is it?
It's the property owners, the farmer. The farmer.
See, he
It's
put
not-
that in, there used to be all these sloughs behind our house, there used to be trees in them, they used to be full of trees. And Keith went in there and took out all the trees, redid the sloughs, and then that's when he added that pipe, because that pipe was never there. He added that to help drain that in, and the guy that tore the trees out, he's the one that put that drain in, so it really wasn't put in by someone that really knew what they were doing, I guess. It was just put in by a guy with a backhoe and a tree grabber.
And there's
So-
nothing we can do about that.
No, there's nothing we can do about it,
Can't force him to fix
because he had it done, so it's basically on Keith's fault.
All this is fixing Keith's problem.
Yeah,
It's all his stuff.
but some of it's.
But, but that's causing problems
Yeah,
for
I
our
get it.
residents, for our
Yeah.
residents.
And isn't the rule of thumb, the guy on the high end, that's just water flows downhill and
But,
it's kind of an old crap.
but
It's the way
that
it
tube was
is.
never put in, I say
Yeah.
professionally, by someone that really surveyed it. He just dug a trench, put in that pipe and dumped it in the ditch.
But can we clean that up, repair it in such a way that it fixes the problem for our residents without
It's on
messing
Keith's
with,
property.
without messing with Keith's property? Do it all on our easements on our side of the line. And make this a much smaller project, so that that number is half.
Well, where's that loop that you're talking about, and then it goes downhill? Is that on Keith's property?
That would be on the, yes, it is, that would be on the east end, that would be clear on the east end, it's almost a standalone, it's not, doesn't actually necessarily run through the residential property, it stays, it remains on the farmer's property, however, because of the way it was put in, it's caused issues, we also have tree roots that have intruded on it, it's in poor condition, in my opinion. There's also some sort of issue with the utility conduit that's in the ground, which is drawing that water over, which is why you see it clear on the other side. We know that the issue is there. We have an idea of what's going on. We just can't pinpoint it other than it's this specific one. Without it actually being repaired, without somebody going in there and digging something up, making, whatever, it's really, really, really hard to tell. Now, just fixing it purely on our side, that's a conversation that Forrest and I need to have to discuss if that is even a feasible solution.
It is, but now you're going through people's backyards with their sheds and their lawns and their trees and all kinds of things.
And let's not forget that I don't even know, I already did, it cost the city $4,000 for an exploratory dig. We went 30 foot wide, 10 foot down in 2 different areas and still did not find the tile that we were looking for. And that leads us to believe that specific tile is actually underneath a property owner's home, a resident's home. And so now that, and statements have been made as, oh yeah, I think we saw that, or yeah, we had to make a repair when we put our home up, or things like that. So it becomes a tricky situation that Forrest and I would definitely need to dig into before we're giving out, yes, we could do that, or hey, that's not feasible. So we're kind of in the same boat. We still need the engineering information. We still need to discuss it.
I guess what my point of view on the whole thing is we've got to figure out how to fix it.
Right.
And tabling that, tabling it just means that we'll stop talking about it. If we stop talking about it, we don't figure out how to fix it.
I think a lot of it's gonna be exploratory. They're gonna have to get some easements from, property owners to get on their land. It's probably gonna wind up being a pretty good mess. You're looking 6 or 8 feet down the ground trying to find tile.
Yeah.
But we know there's another one.
You can lose your equipment back there now, it's
Like Forrest said,
What's that?
I said you lose your equipment back there now, it's a swamp.
Interesting one.
That's what got
The
big
machine
mess.
out there, blank corner. It's gonna be a mess.
So what do you think the next step is, Logan? You and Forrest get together and,
I would assume so, because there's a lot of things to take into account. I mean, considering we'd be on residential property, we'd have to have the easements, and heck, we'd be pulling fences in some places, we'd be fixing yards, there'd be a lot, so that would be.
That's if we were on our side of it.
This whole thing assumes that we're building this on the farmer's side.
Yeah.
If we move this onto the property owner's side, triple the cost.
Yeah.
Because we're having to bore most of this, because we're not gonna dig a trench 10 foot deep to people's backyards, and you gotta remember, you gotta throw the dirt somewhere too.
Yes.
So, it just,
200,000.
I'm looking at this aerial with sheds and trees, and
So,
you'll fill this room up.
yeah, do we have an agreement with the with the property owner to let us do that?
No.
Well, we gotta talk to him, man, this is just something that has come up.
Yeah, so this,
So I guess all I can do is go talk to Keith, and see what he has to say about it.
take that back, show them, otherwise we can't do anything.
In
We don't have easement
In my
from him.
personal opinion, I think that the lawyer
You
should,
could do eminent domain, but that'd be the last resort.
I think
I'll
our
go talk to
attorney,
Keith this week.
I think our attorney should write up an easement agreement for him to be approached with, rather than just a conversation, so that we know whether he's willing to sign something like this or not, because if he's not, it really does stop us in the tracks.
Well,
He's gonna
if I
want-
ask him if he's willing to sign it before we make it up, then why spend the money making it up if he's gonna sign it?
Well, the thing with this is, he's profiting from this too, because we're fixing his tile.
Yeah, we're fixing his
Yeah,
time.
He's fixing his tile.
He knows that.
Can't farm, he's seeing a lot of water out there. He's really seeing a lot of water, I'm sure. I at least let him know.
Well, we need a letter of commitment for an easement from him to even accept the work.
Well, we'll let Billy work his magic this week and then we'll
Give me a few days.
give him a
I'll
couple
let you
days.
know Monday.
Yeah, before Monday night,
If we
yeah.
have it.
Bill, stop on my office too sometime
Okay,
when you got a
that's
chance,
good.
we'll go over that video.
I'll try to get off at 3:30 this week and come by and see you.
That'd be swell.
Okay, can we move on?
So,
I'm sorry, Billy, you have something else?
so I'll go talk to Keith on this here, we'll talk about it Monday. I really don't want to table it either, but if we can come up with money, it'd be nice.
Yeah, this is just the report and the costs, and it's just a
Okay.
presentation, it's not, not asking for money or
Yeah.
anything, this is just where we're at, and how much it's gonna cost to solve everything, but we could look at it piecemeal. We could sure do that, we can just look at the east side and nothing else, and what,
So basically, I'm just gonna talk to Keith about fixing the east end right now, right?
no, I
We won't
wouldn't
do
do
that.
that.
Okay.
And get him in on the whole deal.
Is
He
there,
might be mad after one part. It never goes like you think it's gonna go.
is there a reasonable path that we could take as far as planning this in phases? Or is that just cost prohibitive?
No, you could, you wanna start
At the bottom, work
You
your way
want to
up.
start at the bottom and work your way up, so you'd start with this pipe and just go this way. You can't do that, you have to start at the west end, you have to start downstream end and work.
Isn't there a break there though?
We were taking everything to, the concrete channel.
From Highway 69 all the way down.
We were intercepting this and taking it west, and then this would just stay as it is.
So there was no
No,
plan to change this at all?
No, they was taking all this water off of it, sending it this way, so there's a lot less water in there.
Okay, and that's assuming this is where these people are having the most problems, that it's coming from here and not some sort of unknown spring or something.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Well, when you back water up, it just keeps going. So if you would take everything from the bottom and work your way up, you'd be amazed at how that clears up on the top end too, because it can flow natural.
Well, right now, they've got that tile flowing to the east. And now you're going to intercept it to move it to the west.
Well, I think it should,
This very east one, this very east one here.
we're not gonna have it down in the ditch no more.
Out of the field.
Out of the field would
Yeah.
go west.
Okay.
This piece right here would continue to
Still
go
go that
east.
way, okay.
Yes.
Because we're not gonna get rid of that short piece. We're gonna
Right.
keep it, fix it.
Is that the
Well,
short
that-
piece that's wonky?
You-
Yeah, that's the short piece that's
That's
wonky, yes.
Does that change your opinion?
Well, east 2/3 of that was pretty good. It was
Yeah,
at the west,
yeah,
it was at the
yeah.
west
I mean,
end.
we could take it, we could take the pipe just a little bit further. and
Yeah,
probably
take it a little,
connect
maybe
to it.
take this a
Run it.
little bit further
Yeah.
east. Because it was just
To
right.
fix the hump in it maybe?
Yeah, run a T off of the
Most
coming
of this
north
was pretty
south.
good. It was just that last piece right here that was wonky.
Is that where that tree is?
Well,
farther
we couldn't go any further due to tree roots, yes, but you can clearly see the change in elevation in the pipe, so. But, I mean, there's ways around it, of course, just, there's a way we can get it accomplished, so.
Because you have to remember, we're kind of guessing where some of these guys are, we're guessing at how deep they are.
But that one that shows on the feed, the east end there, that one has been located, or is that?
Yeah, that one's 100%. I know exactly where that one is. I also know exactly where the one that runs through the mayor's property is. The next one down is on the next stub. We dug and dug and dug, cannot find that. That's the one we're assuming is underneath somebody's home. There's another one that I know where a portion of it is that runs through a residential property, but where it veers off and actually goes into the field is anyone's guess. So there's a lot of
unknowns.
But the one that's right underneath the person's house.
Possibly.
Well,
How hypothetical.
I know it does, because they told me.
Well,
Yeah, and I know.
You know, but how can that affect that line? I mean, there ain't nothing growing underneath there. Where that tile.
Well, you're talking about a 6-inch clay tile that's had a home sitting on top of it for 30 years. I would imagine there's some settlement and, other things, and they hit it. I think from the story I was told that maybe it got hit originally and there was some repairs done, things like that. So there's also
12 feet down.
vegetation, other things. Well, it's a higher. That home is at a higher elevation, much higher elevation. That specific one. Right, and so imagine, it's got a higher elevation and they dug the basement, but it's still 6 foot down at the field.
Most of them they hit them and then they
Right.
just cobble something up,
So-
they don't do it
Yeah.
I mean,
properly, and then it silted in, or it could crush it.
there's really
There's
no
all
telling
kinds of
what,
scenarios you
there's
can.
really no telling what actually happened to it.
We've got a lot to talk about next Monday night. We'll put this all on the agenda to talk about. We need to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a motion to consider resolution 2026-011, and this is a resolution fixing a date for a public hearing on fiscal year 26-27 City of Alleman budget, and that would be on April 22nd at 7 o'clock.
Because of publishing guidelines, that was the date that worked for Nick and I. If it could be by phone, you can call in and just vote yes or no.
And that's a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to call in by phone, to council meetings,
You got it.
so,
They know.
got that? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? A motion
This resolution.
motion for resolution 2026-011.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, a roll call, please.
Inverness,
No.
Howard,
This is just for that date?
yes.
Sure.
Stevens, Smith,
Yes.
Stankham.
Yeah. What was the date?
Wednesday the 22nd. Wednesday the 22nd.
This month?
Sure, you remember what it
All right.
Speak up.
was.
Do we have is there anything,
Yeah.
do I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?